Topo Athletic is committed to lifelong health and better movement. Topo builds running shoes for those who get out there every day regardless of weather, speed, energy, or mood. Their distinctive fit and feel combines instinctive human movement with modern performance and lightweight comfort to help you keep going, keep trying, and keep moving. Discover the Topo difference and step into a run experience unlike any other.
I just wanted to let everybody know about Trivia Thursday by Topo Athletic. Be sure to tune in on Thursday and answer a trivia question for a chance to be put into a giveaway for free Topos. Right on time. We got Jason here I think it's like different angles and stuff, but I'm taken aback because every single time that we do this, like starting these lives and these links things, we always have a technical issue, but it feels like the last 5 have been like perfect.
We're perfect.
It's just, I love it so much, but we're excited to bring back Izzy on the show. How's it going, Izzy?
Thanks. Good. Yep. I'm on day 2 of recovery here. Yep. Feeling great.
You got the, how's the Ultra Brain?
You know, the fog has been fine the last couple days. What's today? Tuesday? Yeah, it's not nearly as bad as after Moab. I think it took like 4 days. I was like, ooh, writing email, working, scared.
Well, Izzy's being both jokey, seems like a little bit foggy, and is going to be very humble. So I'm going to give her a very peppy introduction. So here we go. Isabella Campos-Janovick is an ultra runner that has completed distances from 100 to 240 miles, including recently the Bear 100 endurance run, which we'll dive into. She's an OCR athlete, founder of UltraBuds, business owner of Janicom, a marketing professor, and a Pop-Tart enthusiast, and a Injinji sock model. But yeah, welcome to the show, Izzy. We're so happy to have you back. And you know that I have to start off with the question we ask everyone, even though you've answered this before, because you are one of my staunchest supporters on this. But pineapple on pizza, yay or nay?
Yes, Team Pineapple. And Frosted. That's the latest one now, the Pop-Tart war. Frosted versus unfrosted. I'm Team Frosted.
Like, why is that even a conversation? Like, why would somebody not eat a frosted Pop-Tart?
Friends, Melissa and Jess, they're crazy. They're Team Unfrosted. I don't know. It's pointless.
I mean, I guess if you like cardboard, go for it.
I have to think about that one. I mean, I love frosted.
Yeah, now you should do a test.
Definitely got to do a test on that one. I do have another question for you before we get into like the deep questions. And this might be a deep one, but whatever happened to Izzy A?
You know the story on Izzy?
I don't think I do.
Okay, so every year we have like a Halloween costume run, right? And UltraBuds is the social running group that I started. We're in our 10th year, and I have 6 run leaders. So we all kind of take turns and help out because we all have busy schedules. And one of the leaders is a walk leader, my mom. But one of the running leaders is my friend Adam. And he decided to dress, because it's a costume contest that they have. So whoever has the best contest, and we go run and stuff. And he decided to dress up as me for Halloween. So he got with some of the girls and they all planned this like beforehand. And he got fake tattoos to put on his legs because I have tattoos on my legs. He borrowed a hydration pack. He tried to get like clothes that I would wear, really short shorts. And he even got fake eyelashes. So for those of you that don't know me that well, I wear fake eyelashes and it's like a big joke, but this is like my makeup now that I'm an old lady. He shows up and he starts acting like me, trying to take pictures, selfies. And I'm like in shock, like what is happening? And I just start laughing. I could not stop laughing. My mom was there and she was all confused at first and then she got it. So he's like, hey, I'm Izzy A, everyone. So that's kind of started, and I think he only got 2nd place in the costume contest. He didn't get first, but it was the best costume ever.
You mentioned short shorts. How short are short shorts?
Oh, that's a whole nother story with Izzy A. Adam. He had a problem at a 4th of July run once, and so they do have to be a certain length for him because those shorts were too short. There was a situation that happened.
With that thought in mind, let's segue right into the race that you just did this week. The Bear 100. Congratulations on your amazing finish.
Thank you.
I was tracking you. No, I was stalking that tracker. I left a comment. I was like, I think I like went to bed. I was like, it says mile 44. Keep going, keep going. And then I like woke up and I tracked it again. I woke up and I tracked it again. But then I like saw the post and I was like, yes, got it done.
Yeah.
But that is a tough race. Before we talk about the Bear, I just wanted to explain to everybody that this is it's a bear of a race. It's 100-mile point to point from North Utah to South Idaho. It's 100 miles and it's like 22,000 feet of gain. And you have 36 hours to do it. And it's like Utah in September, which means that the weather is a total crapshoot.
Yeah.
As you know from Moab 240 as well, which is something else we'll talk about. But let's talk about like Bear 100. I know it wasn't an immediate choice this year, but what was it like when you hit that register button?
Oh yeah, pressing the button, that means it's commitment, right? So I don't know, like after Moab, I took a long nap for a few months. I tried to do that whole road marathon thing, and that was awful in January. So I was just, not wanting to really run distance. I'm like, I'm just sticking to 50Ks. And my coach is like, yeah, okay. He's like, it's fine. It's still an ultra, And so we set up, did 25Ks, 30Ks, a bunch of fun runs. But the 30Ks and 50Ks I ended up doing this year were really hard mountain races. They're not your typical San Diego days, man. I went and did Luke Nelson's Scout Mountain up Idaho, and that is like in the middle of nowhere, and there's snow in the course. That's the other thing. The mountain races all had snow in the course this year. Broken Arrow and Tahoe I always do, and I only do the 26K, and it's just hard. So then I'm like, signed up for Transrockies Run in August, which is a fun stage race. I've always wanted to do it, but there's a lot of logistics involved because it's 6 days of running plus traveling, figuring out hotels, camping, work, life, not having reception for a week. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to like waste all this fitness, even though I'm just doing this for fun. I may as well just sign up for Bear a month later. And it's a qualifier for Hard Rock and Western States. So if I get in, that is kind of like my dream one day to get into Hard Rock. And I go back and forth with that idea too, because the average time to get into that race is 8 years. I'm going to be in my 50s by the time that happens. Like, do I really want that? Yes or no? So it was just going back and forth through the idea. And then finally I pressed the button.
I love that.
Which one would you be more interested in getting into, Western or Hard Rock? Which would you rank 1A and 1B?
Sure, I don't really care about Western States. I mean, I think it's a cool race. I went out there for my first time this year to pace a friend.
Yeah.
Rad to be a part of and to be a spectator, but it like mountain races like Hard Rock with all those lake views and stuff. Oh, that just gets me more.
I paced Ouray a number of years ago, and it's all in the San Juans up there too. And my goodness, like Ouray is just hard for hard's sake, it feels like. There's got to be a path around here that doesn't take you straight up a mountain, like 1,000 feet in a quarter mile. You're like, holy macaroni. But there's definitely the views you get when you're at the top of those San Juans is just incredible.
Yeah, that sounds like an amazing time, and definitely a race on my bucket list as well, the Ouray and Hard Rock as well. And really crossing my fingers for you in the Hard Rock lottery this year that you're like, are you in the lottery now?
Yeah, I mean, I'll enter the lottery. I got to find out the details how I'm supposed to do that, but yeah, I'll have one too.
Yeah. More power. But going back to the Bear 100, last year you finished the Moab 240, which is a 240-mile foot race that is about 29,000 feet of gain. So just to put it into perspective, people, the Bear 100 is like less than half the distance with like almost like 2/3 of the gain, which is nuts. So how different was your training from the Moab 240, and like were there any like major surprises?
Yeah, so I trained. I've had the fitness for, you know, the distance, but then I started training specifically with my coach for more hills and mountain running, power hiking, with poles, just long days of just hiking, gradual uphill climbs, and then also steep climbs, hill repeats. I do whatever he tells me to do. But and then I learned the course, and my coach, he's Jeff Browning, so he's ran that race before. He's won it before, so he knows the course very well. So we would just went over it, the sections, and the first 12 miles is just an uphill climb. But if you look at the elevation map, it's all it is this. Like, there's no flat sections. Like, and then what's a real bummer is a lot of the downhills are very technical, so you can't even like really run them, at least me, you know, not that talented, or they're so steep you just start your quads. They just kill your quads. So you don't want to blow out your quads too early. And man, that first climb and descent is everything I heard that it was going to be. So mentally I was prepared for all of this, and I just took my time. I just kept going, went to my happy place. I had no pacers for this race, so that was another challenge, but it was something I wanted to try out. I was going back and forth with the idea. But after running Moab, I feel like you can, anyone who finishes Moab can do a 100-miler without pacers. Like, you spend so many lonely hours out there that you're just kind of used to it. I don't have any of those fears of running by myself at night, fears of animals. Like, those are all gone. Pooping in the bushes, taking trail naps, hallucinations. Like, we've done it all. So a lot of this stuff wasn't a surprise to me. It was just a matter of problem solving quickly.
Before
Took
getting into
forever because it was hard. Like, I mean, I finished in 35:21, which I've never been that close to a cutoff before. Like, I was getting scared the last like 40 miles, 30 miles, because, you know, you think like, oh, the last section's only 9 miles. I'm like, but I don't know what it's going to look like. And sure enough, it sucked. Let me tell you. So, but I don't like having that anxiety of like rushing through a race, but I got it done, and I was in one piece. So I'm very happy about that.
um, curious, like you mentioned having no pacers in this race. What was the difference like for you, like having no pacers? Like, what was that experience like after having them?
Well, so this year, pretty much all of my long runs I ran by myself, just mostly because I like to stop when I want to stop. I want to eat when I want to eat. I listen to a lot of podcasts and audiobooks. Also, my work schedule, like, I kind of feel bad if I have to bail on someone if I was supposed to meet them for a certain time to run. So I still run with friends, but they're usually like the shorter distance, like 8 miles or less. So I still have that social, you know, running. And then I travel to races with friends, and I help pace and crew and sweep courses and all that stuff. So the long runs I've been doing by myself. So I've been kind of like used to it. And then Kyle, my husband, he was my crew. So he would drive to each of the stations, and he crewed at Moab 240. So he has improved a lot. Yeah.
So I have a question for you. So like when I race and it's a mountain race like that, and I know that I've got 22,000 feet of elevation gain, like I look at my watch and it's like, okay, you've covered 2,000 feet. So now in my head, I'm like, only 20,000 to go. How do you process an event as you're going through, whether it's elevation or whether it's miles? Like, how do you keep yourself engaged with it and not get overwhelmed by it?
So mile-wise, I always only look at aid stations. So I never look at 100 miles. But I do the same elevation thing. And then the other thing is on my phone, I just learned this trick from Callie. Thank you, Callie. You take a screenshot of your estimate time, mileage, and the cutoff time, and you take a screenshot of it and you put it as your wallpaper on your phone. So you can constantly be looking at the times. And that helped me a lot. And then also I have the elevation profile in my phone as well. So that kind of helps, like, okay, I got the hardest climb. I just got the baby climbs now, you know? So that type of mentality. But man, I love these watches. Yeah.
I know, hopefully I get into Lake Sonoma again, but I know when I did Lake Sonoma a couple of years ago, you know, it's like 12,000 feet of elevation, 50 miler. And I just kept looking at my watch as we were climbing, and I'm like, okay, once you get done with this, you only have 4,000 feet left to go, or whatever the number is, to help you just get through that process. Like, okay, I've done this part and I'm done. I don't have to do it again.
Exactly. Yeah.
Shout out to Daryl in the comments there, Black Unicorn. And congrats on finishing the Mountain Lakes 100 there, I think last weekend.
Yep. He's bud.
So like diving into like the race itself now, what are some of the biggest challenges that you faced? I know we talked about it a little bit in the green room, but like, no, what were some of your highest moments? What were some of your lowest moments? And did you have any struggles with Meniere's disease?
So everything went pretty good this race. Like, I would have to say I had a really good race. The typical issues come up, but I was able to problem solve. I think my lowest point was definitely during the witching hour, which happens to a lot of us. Just because, I have a caffeine strategy, but if I over caffeinate, I get nauseous. You're at altitude. The majority of the race was between 7,000 and 9,000 feet. So a lot go on with the stomach that you're normally not used to. And so I just, I took 3 trail naps, 5 minutes, no big deal. But the difference with the 100-miler, I noticed, I don't think other people understand trail maps, because every time I try to take a nap, people would shine their light on me and ask me if I was okay. And I'm like, Moab, I don't know about you, but that did not happen to me at Moab. Like, woke me up. Like, so you 100-miler newbies there, when you see someone sleeping on the trail, do not shine your light on them, and don't wake them up.
I paced Greg Sissengrath, who I think at Cruel Jewel a number of years ago, and at one point he's like, dude, I need to take a nap. And so I was like, well, go sit against the tree there, I got you. And I literally put my stopwatch on, because he's like, 10 minutes. I'm like, you got it, 10 minutes. And as people were coming down, they were like, with their headlamps, like trying to shine on him. And I'm like, keep moving. Like, nothing to see here, folks. Like, let the dude sleep. Let him catch his Z's for a moment, It's funny how they lose concentration for a moment, I guess. And they're like, let me put my bright headlamp right in this guy's eyes as he's trying to take a nap.
That's the amazing difference between a 100 and 200. Like, you have like people flashing their headlamps in your face in the 100, whereas like in the 200, I had a friend pass me who was doing the race himself at Oregon, and he took a picture of me taking a nap.
See?
Well, which is crazy.
So that was definitely the low point. I had a few times where my stomach was just hurting. I was feeling nauseous, but I didn't throw up. I was able to kind of control it, but still, it's never a good feeling when you're going 2 hours and you're like, if you try to go fast, try to run fast, it gets worse and then it slows you down. So definitely had a few of those low points. I was very lucky I didn't have any ear, vertigo, Meniere's issues, because that's always, can happen. In fact, I had all tests done again this February with my ENT, and he took me off all my medication. He said, everything has been looking so good for you. You haven't had an issue. He's like, let's try taking you off. So he's had me off, and I've been able to control everything with diet and exercise. And one of the things with Meniere's disease is you can only have about 1,500 milligrams of sodium a day, which is like a bite of a burrito. So as an ultra runner, that's always been a trick that, I've always had to figure out. So earlier this year, I went and got one of those sweat tests. I went and saw Remo, who does it with Precision in Austin, Texas. I was there for a work trip, so I went and met him. So I was able to get my exact data on my sweat rate. And so I just, every time I have a long run, I calculate like the swelling, how I felt, how much sodium I took in, and how much water I've been drinking. So I've kind of been playing that, and my coach and I have been working back and forth with that. So I had it dialed in on this race. What I learned is that I drink too much water when the temperature goes down. And so that's when my body starts to swell and stuff, because I used to have issues with my belly swelling at night. So I didn't have any of those issues. I mean, I swelled a little bit, but nothing to be concerned about or to cause issues. In fact, I didn't have any blisters. I just have one messed up toe. So 9 out of 10 toes survived. I also have been experimenting with different shoes. So I've been working with Topos. So those have been working with me very well. I tested out 2 pairs at Transrockies because that was 120 miles and I had no blisters. So they worked out really good for the race. And I've been practicing pre-taping before a race. So this is the first time I actually pre-taped before. So all these little things you learn just from experience, you always take something away at every race. And so I've just been putting them all together, and I had a really good race.
Oh my goodness. Your feet were a wreck after Mo. Sorry, I just wanted to add that point because I feel that was an iconic photo.
So you're going into this race without a pacer, and you're having to do all this math. Like, before you chose not to have pacers, was that a concern? Like, what if I get too tired to do the calculations on the sodium and everything else in the middle of the night? Was that?
Actually, I didn't even think about that.
Sorry for bringing it up. Forget I ever mentioned it. Let it go.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah. I think if anything, I was worried about being too tired and missing a marker and going off course, not the sodium or food or drink. Which that course was marked so well. It was a great course. I liked how the majority of the aid stations were about 7 miles apart, which I thought was great. There was a lot of support out there. I had spoken to people who have done that race numerous times and who live in the area, and they said, hey, if you're going to do a 100-miler without pacers, like, this is a good one because there's so much support. You start with like 350 runners, so you're always going to have C runners on the course, and it's very well marked, and aid stations are easy to get to for the crew.
And it said it's point to point, you said, right? So
yeah.
You enjoy that better than a loop type race, whether it's 100-mile loop?
Oh, the loop course I did was Coldwater Rumble, and it's like really confusing because it's like they call it a washing machine, but you change directions every loop. And like, yeah, it might make sense on paper when you're normal, like right now, but when you're tired and running, like, it was freaking confusing. Like, point to point, you just get it done. Or at least Moab was one big loop, you know? I think those are way better. I don't think I'm going to do all the loop stuff anymore.
I'm a big fan of the point to point, and part of my thinking of point to points, childish as it may seem, like when I pass a tree, I'm like, see you later, tree, I'll never see you again. And because I know, like, I'll never have to go back around to seeing it again. Like, it just gives me confidence. Like, okay, I'll never be on that part of the race again.
Yep. It's really weird too, especially like when you put that in the scope of like something like a 200, like, because Oregon was like an out and back, but everything looks totally different because you're hitting it in a different part of the day and in reverse direction. So it's like, I know I've been here before, but I'm going the opposite direction. It's a different part of the day.
That's true. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's something you can process because you're going to see that like 2 days later, as opposed to like if you're doing a 20-mile loop, you're seeing it, you know, every 4, 5, 6 hours. You're like, enough. Because I've done cold water myself, and you do the washing machine thing. And by the time I got to that 5th loop, I was like, enough. I know exactly where this cactus is. I know exactly where this rock is.
That's where
like
time.
And you have enough time, and I bet you probably start debating, like, which direction is my favorite?
I'll ask you this question, since we've both done cold water. Like, I remember when it first started getting night out there in the Australia Mountains, and I could hear that aid station that's in the center of the race course. And I'm like, oh, we're so close to the aid station, right? And then all of a sudden, the trail bends left, and you're not getting there for like another 10 miles. And I was so disappointed. And I wanted to cry because I'm like, I can hear the people. Like, they're right there. Why are we going away from it? Like, did you have any of those scenarios when you were out there on that race?
No, but I remember at Moab, you know, the finish line is right by the Colorado River, and you can see the finish line. Candace has you go, you know, like this, and you're like, I can see the finish line. It's over there. It was awful.
I was pacing at Pinhoti one year, and we got to the top of a climb, and we look over, and I'm like, oh, that must be Birmingham. We must be getting close to the finish. Like, we were like hundreds of miles away from Birmingham. We were nowhere near it. I don't know what I saw, but mentally I was like, oh, we got to be right there. My runner was like, I thought you said we were close to the finish line. It's like 12 hours later. We're getting there.
Speaking of like mental things, like, did you have any hallucinations during Bear?
Yeah, so that was during the witching hour when the time that I kind of fell apart and had the low, starting to hallucinate. So that in my mind, I'm like, okay, I need to sleep. So that's when I took the trail naps, and then it fixed that problem. I did feel a little like blurred vision kind of in the morning, and I think it's because all the trees, the aspen trees, those beautiful yellow leaves are all on the ground on the trail. And I don't know about you guys, but I feel like it kind of messes with my eyes sometimes. I'm like, and then I'm just thinking about Courtney and when she went temporarily blind in that one race she did. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to go blind. It all worked out. It's fine.
So, you know, we were talking about point-to-point races, and that brings me to another big run that you did this year, a month before Bear. Let's talk about the Transrockies 6-day race. Before we get started, like diving into that, like I do, as somebody who's done that race myself, I do want to know like what your favorite stage was, and I also want to know if you're more partial to overnighters or stage racing at this point, having done both.
Wow. So that race was epic. Like I highly recommend that to everyone. It's exactly what it says on the website. It's not cheap, and the race director will straight tell you that it's not cheap, but it is, you get what you pay for. Like, it's bougie. It is definitely summer for the kids. And I chose 6-day camping. There is a hotel package, but that, you know, costs a lot more. I'm like, oh, I like camping. I like backpacking. But I didn't think about how close your tents were to the other people. So even with earplugs, you could hear everything all your neighbors were doing. So that was a little hard. And then you're at altitude. So the first 2 nights, I didn't really sleep much. But I did not take that as a negative. I took that as sleep deprivation, and I'm training. I'm out here to train, right? It was really cool because at the end of each stage, I feel like the distances were, I think, like 14 to 26 miles, but they weighed it out where it's like you had 2 hard days and then the 3rd day was a little easier. You ended sooner. It's like they planned it all out perfect, because after the first day I was like, gosh, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this. Like, that was hard. The first day was the hottest day, and they warn you about that. So, you know, it just sucks everything out of you. And it's like a big party at camp. So being disciplined and not drinking alcohol, they had plenty of NA. Best Day Brew and Beer was there. They had massage people there. They had the legs, the compression legs. So I did the compression legs every day. I ate a ton of food to recover. They had protein recovery drinks at the finish line. So it was just awesome. Went to bed early, but still I was like, man, the first day I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this. And the second day I'm like, gosh, I am dead. Because the second day we did Hope Pass.
Yeah.
But it's just what they said. They're like, it's okay, you can do it. You get like a second win. And sure enough, I think it was the 4th day, they made it a little shorter and easier. And you got a second win. And so you just do it, and everyone's doing it with you. And you're like, all right, we got each other. But stage races, they're hard because you have to rest and like behave when you're around. And all I want to, you know, and they're doing beer mile, and it's mostly the staff that's drinking.
So I wonder if this happened to you, because it happened to me, but because I was so accustomed to overnight races, I would wake up at 2 a.m. in the morning hungry and awake. My coach at the time literally told me, like, take some snacks for your camp, like for your tent. I'm like, why? It's like, take some snacks. And I would wake up every single night because I'm so used to like moving in the night, and like start nomming on like goldfish and like potato chips and then fall back asleep.
Didn't have that issue. They did say that they did something new called Dawn Patrol, where they had stoked oats and coffee starting at 5 a.m. So I woke up early and ate super early before everyone else, because we don't start until like 8. So yeah, that helped with me. But I mean, I would eat like a meal as soon as we got done, and then I would eat the dinner that they had. So I mean, I ate a ton, but I did wake up a lot. It was not easy to sleep.
What was another question for you is, what was your favorite camp? For me, it was Camp Hale. The one where we stayed for 2 nights on stage 3 and stage 4, because it was like just chilling with people at Chillville.
Yeah, I thought it was called something else, but there was definitely the one where we stayed for 2 nights and it was at a lake. I think it was called something, I can't remember the name of it, but yeah, you stay 2 nights, because that was the other thing. You had to wake up early and pack up all your stuff for them to take the next day. So it's like you had a lot to do before you started running.
So it's a job before the job. It's like, it sounds like a job before the job.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But these guys, the Transrockies, they put on such a great race. They had a new race this year called the Moab Run the Rocks, and it was 3 days in Moab. I went to that. It was so much fun. Next year on the calendar, I think I'm going to try one of their Canada races. They have some Canada stage races just to like excuse to go to Canada.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. I find it hard to believe that you ate a ton, said Badwater06. I find it hard to believe too until I actually go out there and realize I ate like 20 pounds of
Yeah.
food.
It was food we ate, and they had a lot of food there. They had like a snack bar the whole time. I brought a lot of my own protein drinks and snacks and bars and stuff like that.
What's the best thing you ate on that stage race?
Oh, they had they actually had a lot of vegan options. I'm not vegan, I'm an Isabellatarian, but I liked they had like vegan meatballs one day, and then they had some like seared tofu one night, and it was really good.
Yeah.
They had really good food there.
Define Isabellatarian. What is involved in that? That might be.
So I don't eat meat, but I eat fish. I eat salmon and canned tuna and poke tuna, and I love canned tuna. Tuna fish is my favorite. I ate a lot of eggs and cheddar cheese, hard cheeses, not soft cheeses. They don't agree with my stomach. So I don't drink like milk, but I do have hard cheeses, cream cheese, and then Pop-Tarts, of course, you know.
So out of curiosity, with tuna, when you make tuna, because I haven't eaten tuna in forever because I've gone vegetarian/vegan myself. What are you putting in your tuna fish sandwich? Like when you make the tuna, how are you making the tuna?
I like the tuna where it's not a lot of mayonnaise. I like it when they put like vegetables in it and stuff. If it's got too much mayonnaise, I'm like, where's the tuna? When I'm at home, I'm lazy and I get the packs of tuna and I just put that with no mayonnaise, but I have to have cheddar cheese on it, and sourdough bread is the best.
So tuna melt, yeah.
It doesn't necessarily have to be melted, but sometimes I'll put it in the air fryer.
Okay. See, I like mayonnaise, and then as a kid, my mother would always chop up like little like celery into really small dices and red onion as well. So it had like that crunchy texture to it as well. Mm-hmm. And so if I'm going to eat a tuna fish sandwich again, it's going to definitely have to be that way.
If I order at a restaurant, I ask them like, how much mayonnaise in it? Or if I'm at like a sandwich place, you can see how much.
You just gave me another question for our Food Fight Friday.
Love that. We're making things happen on the go. And there's really no segue from Transrockies to tuna melts to this, but talked about in the green room, and I really didn't want to bring it up, but you set your second FKT.
Did? Yeah. So last year, one of the things I do for work is I get to interview professional athletes and write blogs and social media content for them. So I had interviewed a couple ladies who had, ran FKTs, and I kind of learned a little bit more about it and how there's not really many women on the FKT website. Like they don't even try. There's not even a female name up there. It's just blank. So there's a nonprofit kind of movement organization, FKT, and they try to promote and encourage females to just go out there and try. Like there's no name. You don't have to be fast. You're the first one. That's something, at least something, so that someone else can go out there and get faster at it. So I was so inspired by all this. My brother has a ranch out in Idaho outside of Boise, so we go and visit him all the time. So when I was out there last summer training, I ran the Boise Greenbelt and I set the FKT for the woman's name. There was no woman there. I'm like, this is part of my training plan. It's super easy. Like, I mean, you do have to figure out logistics and know the area and do like recons and stuff. But I did it all unsupported because you could filter water in the river. So I don't know why I chose the middle of summer. It was 100 degrees that day, but I did it. And then sure enough, when I was in Moabs, another female went out there and broke the time. So I urged someone else to try it. So this summer when I went out there visiting family, I found another FKT. There's 3 in the Boise area and none of them have female names on them. So this time I did another one, and again, summer, so it was super hot. And I had to do I think it's self-supported because I had to go catch water ahead of time. So I still didn't have anyone helping me, but the fact that I put stuff out there ahead of time, it's a different category because all the creeks are dried up in the summertime. So so I set my second FKT. this year. So that's 2. 1 more to go. I'll do the 3rd one next year.
So are you FKT hunting outside? Once you get the 3rd one, are you going to look for other ones, areas?
So when I do travel, I've been finding them because I travel a lot for work, but I just haven't had time because I'm working, and so, but yeah, I do look for them now.
It's a pretty cool thing to like do the research and find the FKT and be like, I think I can go after this and see if you can, I know I set one in Texas and then I went after one in Oklahoma, and I'm disappointed in myself because I missed it by like 20 seconds because I tripped and fell. Like, I'm so angry about it. And I was like, mother F, But that's a kind of like challenge that's outside of a race that gives you that race vibe, and gets you prepared for racing too. Definitely, people should definitely look to, even if you don't think you're going to come close, go for it and see what happens.
Absolutely. And you get to see something cool, something new.
Yeah. Have either of you ever considered making your own FKT?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've submitted one just a couple of weeks ago. Got rejected, but I submitted it anyway. They were like, this isn't all that challenging. I was like, okay, I'll go find a mountain to run up there.
Was it minimum 5 miles or 1,500 feet or something like that? I don't know what the rule. Yeah. I don't know.
The loop I did was like a 10K plus loop with like just under 1,400 feet of climbing. So it's right in there. But it just wasn't something that they felt matched their, their qualifications or what they needed for it, which is fine. So.
Man. Yeah. Oh, man. Missing qualifying for Boston by a minute seems pretty terrible too. I won't even mince words. That seems really bad. So one of the things that we talked about last year, then you're a big proponent of this. So I want you to rant about this a little bit more because that was a very popular rant, but rest and recovery, talk about rest and recovery and what it means to you as somebody who's been doing this and OCR and so many different sports for a long time.
Yeah, I try to plan my race calendar and take breaks in between. So I knew this was going to be a huge effort. So I'm not traveling for work for 2 months for December and January. November, the only traveling I'm doing is to go to the running event conference. So I won't be racing. So I'm definitely taking like an off season. This is the time where I spend a lot of time with family. I catch up with my non-running friends. I might have a few more beers. Just go out and do non-running things, like go to the movies or hang out with my niece and nephew. They're fun. Just different things like that. And I think it's good for balance. And so you don't get burned out, good for your mind. I think your body too. I mean, I'm still going to be running and working out. It's just like, going to be like chill, like group runs, like easy group runs. I'll still go to CrossFit a few times a week. And, but I do have, in 2 weeks, I will be going to Moab to pace my friend Melissa. So, and for those that have done Moab, when you pace a section, it's a minimum 30 miles. So it's not like I'll be doing 10 miles with her.
Easy breeze.
And then I somehow got suckered into, I think 2 weeks after that, I somehow got suckered into CrossFit competition at my gym.
Strength.
And then I'll take a nap.
A nap for 2 months.
for 3 months, yeah.
You'll have to get Izzy one of our shirts that says, you stay grinding, I'm going to take a nap, so you can wear it for those last couple of months.
Yep. I won't get out of my pajamas or sweatpants. I have my daytime sweatpants and my nighttime sweatpants.
That's fantastic.
I
wear my nice sweatshirt and I wear my nice hoodie for you guys.
I'm wearing nice pants today, for all crying out loud. I'm glad you wore your nice hoodie.
Well, Izzy, thank you so much for being on our show. And it's been just as fun as the first time around you were on the show. And, we can't end the show without the rapid fire section, which we've had to alter and modify because you've done it before. So I'm going to let Jason roll with it because I think he's got a few questions ready to launch.
do. So this is going to make like next week's guest even better of a food section because I've got all these new questions. So when it comes to peanut butter or nut butter, if you have allergies, you going creamy or crunchy?
Oh, creamy all the way. Yep.
You don't like food?
No, I don't like, and it makes the bread weird when you spread it on. It can make holes in the bread. So I want...
Is a hot dog a sandwich or a taco?
Wow, that is a hard one. I would think it's its own category.
No, you have to pick one. We're not letting you off that easy.
Sandwich.
Yeah, it's definitely a sandwich because the bread is thicker.
Yeah.
Did we ask you about red velvet cake the last time?
Yes,
okay.
It's gross.
Skip that one. Favorite flavored ice cream?
Rocky Road, but only certain brands I notice. Like Dreyer's makes a good one. Select, the Albertsons brand, but Tillamook sucks with their Rocky Road. There's not enough Rocky Road in it.
Interesting.
I learned this. Mm-hmm.
Top 3 candy choices.
Twix.
The left or the right?
One in each hand. Peanut butter M&Ms, peanut M&Ms, the yellow package, and gosh, the third one. I'm trying to think. Halloween's right here. What do I always have my niece and nephew grab the good ones for me because they're only allowed to keep a certain amount of pieces.
Yeah.
And then so Uncle Kyle and I get the rest. Probably Kit Kat.
Nice. Are you a fan of the mini versions of these candy bars? Or are you like, just give me the full candy bar? I'm going to eat 10 of the mini ones anyway.
No, I like the mini. It makes me feel better until I see.
I do like pineapple on pizza for whatever that's worth. What about pineapple on a burger? You putting pineapple on a burger?
No. Mm-mm.
Why is it good on pizza but not good on a burger?
I think because it's a different type of cheese, and there's mayonnaise. And there's mayonnaise on a burger. Mayonnaise and pineapple, that just sounds weird.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'll latch on to that reason.
We got to go eat sometime, guys.
No
we got to
go. The problem is, like, we don't make enough money for the amount of food that we would order to test all this stuff out. That's the problem. Like, the table would be huge. We'd have to have, like, a lot of people there and just do, like, tapas and share everything.
We ever in the future do a run, try, bike community retreat and we bring out a bunch of fireside chat guests, we have to have a table with all the questions from the rapid fire.
Yeah. Brings their own food.
You're
Fall.
Peanuts.
Fall season's here. Pumpkin spice or apple cider?
Oh, pumpkin, which is great.
Yeah.
Pumpkin. Last night he got me pumpkin cider and pumpkin ice cream. I'm all about the pumpkin. Team pumpkin.
What's that?
Team pumpkin. Yes.
Great. Thanks.
Hey, at least we agree on tuna sandwiches.
Sweet or savory? One has to go and you can't eat it again for the rest of your life. So are you going to keep sweet and only eat sweets? Or are you going to keep savory and only eat savory?
Savory.
I said the same thing because I was like, I could snack on popcorn or chips or pretzels, you know. So give me the keep savory in my palate. Chocolate chip cookie or oatmeal?
Snickerdoodle. Oh, chocolate chip.
Why is Snickerdoodle the number one cookie?
No, that's always my favorite cookie. That's when my husband and I started dating. Those are the cookies he would make me.
Snickerdoodles are awesome.
Yeah, he actually got me those last night too. Fattening me.
We're gonna be heading into the winter section and the holidays at the end of the year. Are you a gingerbread fan?
No.
Oh my
Which
God.
Weird because I like ginger, but I don't like gingerbread cookies. Mm-mm.
If I ever have to pace you, I'm gonna have like 2 bags, one for your food and one for my food, since we wouldn't eat the same thing. I'd be like, pass the gingerbread cookies. You'd be like, no, Snickerdoodles. Like,
I love ginger stuff. Like I love, like I have this new granola and it's ginger. There's ginger in it. It's really good. Ginger tea, but not the gingerbread cookie. I don't know. I think they're too hard.
Well, you can get soft ones. They have like soft gingerbread cookies. Those are no. My sales pitch on gingerbread cookies just totally fell flat. Well, Izzy, that's all the questions I have when it comes to food. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate you taking the time to chat with us again, and we look forward to catching up again real
You're
soon.
welcome. Good to see you guys, and I'll see you in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'll see you in 2 weeks. Have a good evening.
Bye, guys.